She was the face of the 90s. Vogue called her the most beautiful woman in the world. Linda Evangelista didn't just model clothes, she defined what it meant to be a supermodel.
When I first cut my hair off and I went to Milano to do the shows, I was booked for like 20 shows. So 15 of them canceled me because they didn't understand the haircut at first.
And yet, just a season later, everyone wanted to look like her. That's the Linda effect. From Versace runways to the iconic Freedom music video, she was everywhere, until she wasn't. So what really happened to Linda Evangelista? Why did she disappear at the height of her fame? And how did one decision change her life and face forever? Before the silence and the surgeries, Linda was at the center of a fashion revolution. Alongside Naomi, Cindy, Christy, and Claudia, she wasn't just in the spotlight. She was the spotlight. But unlike many other top models, Linda wasn't discovered by chance. She didn't stumble into modeling. She chased it.
I really wanted to wear fashion. I wanted to model because I was obsessed with fashion. I was obsessed with clothing. I just loved it, and I knew that's what I wanted to do. I wasn't discovered in a mall.
From the time she was a child, Linda was drawn to glamour, sneaking her aunt's makeup, collecting costume jewelry, and plastering her bedroom walls with pages ripped from Vogue. But her path wasn't easy. She started with 8-hour bridal catalog shoots in Canada, saving every cent to build a test portfolio. When she finally got to Europe, most jobs went to taller, more conventional girls. But Linda didn't give up.
It took me a few years to get going. I worked every day, but I didn't do genius things right from the beginning. So I went through a lot to get where I am, and I appreciate it. And it's what I hoped for.
She wasn't an overnight success. She was the opposite. She grounded out until the world noticed. And once Vogue finally booked her, it was over. Linda was in. But it was her collaboration with photographer Steven Meisel that would change everything. The two became creative soulmates, building images so iconic, they defined an entire era.
It's very easy to work once with a photographer because everybody's curious, but to get rebooked over and over and over, that takes, a lot of factors. They have to love you.
Together, they created a visual language of fashion, polished, intense, transformative. And as fashion moved from minimalism to glam, from catalogs to culture, Linda evolved right along with it. Then came the moment that changed everything.
We were just hitting fashion people, and suddenly I was being recognized by kids on the street, and that's what really did it.
That one video didn't just cement her status, it made her immortal. She was no longer just a model. She was a cultural icon. She had the face, the talent, the discipline. The world couldn't stop watching her. Until suddenly, she disappeared. For a while, Linda Evangelista seemed to vanish. No interviews, no campaigns, no runway returns like the other top models. In an industry built on visibility, she disappeared into silence. Naomi was still on runways. Cindy launched skincare lines. Claudia was closing Versace shows. But Linda? Nothing. Not a red carpet, not a campaign, not even a candid shot. The silence was loud. Fans speculated. Had she retired? Was she ill? But no one knew the truth. What people didn't know was that Linda wasn't resting. She was hiding. Not from fame, but from herself. In 2015, Linda underwent a cosmetic procedure called cool sculpting, a non-invasive treatment designed to freeze and reduce fat cells. It was marketed as quick, painless, and effective. But for Linda, it went horribly wrong. Instead of shrinking the fat, she developed a rare and devastating side effect known as paradoxical adipose hyperplasia, or PAH. Her fat cells didn't dissolve. They multiplied, hardened, and grew. She said it caused bulges that deformed her body, leaving her unrecognizable. And worst of all, the damage was irreversible.
Do you see the angle of my arms? Okay, I can't put them next to my body because this bulge is making them veer off in an angle. Versace won't want to dress me with that sticking out of my body.
For over 5 years, Linda lived in near total seclusion. She avoided mirrors, declined every job offer, hid from friends. She stopped attending events, even the ones that celebrated the supermodel era she helped define. And it wasn't about vanity. It wasn't about ego. It was about identity. The face that had built her career no longer felt like hers.
My son used to say, before I told him the truth, he used to make comments frequently like, "Mommy, do you remember when you used to be fun? How come you don't laugh anymore?" So I hate what this has done to my relationship with him.
It wasn't just her body image that was broken. It was her spirit. She didn't recognize herself, and neither did the people closest to her. She fell into a deep depression. At times, she said, she couldn't even face going outside. And while she was suffering, the industry she once defined said nothing. No designer came calling, no magazine offered to shoot her. It was as if fashion, the world she helped build, had no place for her anymore. Eventually, Linda filed a $50 million lawsuit against Cool Sculpting's parent company, claiming physical disfigurement, emotional trauma, and lost income. The company disputed her claims publicly, stating the procedure was safe, tested, and widely performed. But for Linda, it was too late. The damage, physically, emotionally, financially, had already been done. And what made her story even more devastating was how quiet it all was. This wasn't a scandal. There were no meltdowns, no addictions,